in the course of this discourse. First of all, there was a clear collaboration between the Kenyan government and Nigerian government. I'm happy now that they are denying the fact that Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in their place and also handed over to Nigerian government. But I can assure you that by the time we finish with them at the international court, they will not remain the same. What's important at this stage, and I've already made known to the world, is that he was arrested at the airport on the 19th day of June 2021. And he was taken to an unknown residence. That is a fact. He wasn't taken to a custody, and they recognized the official custody of the police over there. He was taken to an unknown residence where he was subjected to inhuman treatment. Nnamdi Kanu was tortured, maltreated, and beaten, mercilessly beaten. So these are facts within our knowledge, confirmed by him to us. So after spending 8 days in their custody, illegal custody, they now beckoned on the Nigerian counterpart to come for him. And by the time they came, Nnamdi Kanu was apparently unconscious at the point they came to pick him. He was unconscious. He was near lifeless at the time they were back taking him to Nigeria. So, and consequently they brought him here. So now, to tell you the level of their conspiracy and the desperation to get him jailed at all costs by enemies. They brought him here on a Sunday, and the federal government is fully aware that I'm the lead counsel to Nnamdi Kanu. And there's a charge against him before the court, which has been subsisting has been going on. Because after invasion of his premises on the 14th of September 2017 by the Nigerian military and soldiers, who killed over 28 persons in his house, and by act of providence he was narrowly escaped, we filed an application before the court for an inquest into what transpired in his house on the 17th of September 2017, for court to inquire as to what happened in his house, what led to his disappearance. And we are still in this process, because that is fundamental. This is a person that has expressed to the world that he is ready to come for his trial on October 14th, 2017. He wasn't planning to leave the country. He wasn't planning to run away from the trial. He was ready to come for the trial on October 14th. The matter was stated for commencement of trial. Then on September 17th, his house was invaded. So to tell you that the government was not ready at the time to prosecute him, because they have no evidence to establish even the charge preferred against him to even date. So they went after his life. Now it's compelling on the part of the court to inquire what happened to this person I granted bail, what led to his disappearance. Then surprisingly, on the 28th of March 2019, when the matter came up for sureties to show cause why they will not be committed for contempt, why they were unable to produce Nnamdi Kanu. That was the proceedings of that day. The court gave an order revoking his bail. Then we said no, because the court should be bound by its records. We said no, and we filed an application to get that vacated. Since 2019 to date, the matter had severally come up before the same court. And the court was not inclined to hear this application to vacate the order. And the worst is that the federal government has not filed any response to this application before the court. They have not filed a response in counter to application to get that order vacated. They were not interested. What they are interested is to how to get in Nnamdi Kanu at all means available to them. So now he was brought into this country on Sunday after being detained, maltreated, subjected to all forms of inhuman treatment, and inflicted with severe injuries on account of handcuff that lasted on his hands for over 4 hours till before he was brought to court. And you can see him on handcuff in court on that day. Those injuries are still there, and a number of medical issues he's having today on account of what was the kind of treatment that was meted out to him. So they took him to court on a Tuesday. Labaran, Chaibu Labaran, who is the counsel that was in court on that day representing federal government, is fully aware that Badesifai Ejiofor is the lead counsel in this matter. And I've been in court with him in all cases affecting Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB. He never extended the courtesy of informing me that my client was arrested Was abducted, because in this case, wasn't arrested. So but when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. He was abducted and kidnapped from Kenya and brought into this country. So now he didn't feel it confident, didn't see it confident or didn't appropriate to inform me that my client was arrested and been brought to court on Tuesday. So that shows there's a collaboration between the government in question, as we stand today, and the people who were appearing before them. Because if at all there was any element of iota of transparency in what they're doing, is compelling on the part of the AG, not the lawyer representing the Federation, to inform me that they are coming to court on Tuesday, so I can come to court and see my client. I don't know what happened, and this is quite from him what happened. So on Tuesday, took him to court, and the court asked them, "Where is Barrister Jofo? Is he not in court? Was he not informed?" They said no. They arrested him and brought him to Abuja on Sunday, and he's called today. So now there's an underlying fact that my client will not get fair trial in that court. That's settled. The issue of fair trial has been taken away by this collaboration. But we keep on watching. We are going to see them in court. So that is what happened as of today. I've seen him, and he has given me every information and detail about what transpired in Kenya, how he was arrested, how he was taken to a non-destination, and how he was maltreated, how they nearly killed him over there. And it's obviously from what he told me that it was at the behest of the federal government that they were doing those things. So until when they beckon on them to come, these are against an obvious infraction to all international laws and treaties. So, but at that level, we're addressing it. We're going to address an international court at that level. So let me concern myself what's happening in the country. So it's obvious from every indication that my client will not get a fair trial in this court. Obvious. Until when the contrary is established. And now, Nnamdi Kanu was manded in prison custody. Let me underline this fact. Long before he was granted bail, he spent over 2 years in custody before he was granted bail. The court itself is aware that he was in prison custody before he was granted bail. And at the point he was in prison custody, Nnamdi Kanu never at any point in time made any effort to leave the prison without the judicial process. Now they remanded him in DSS custody, where they made it near impossible for his relatives. He is under a debilitating health situation. He has a medical condition that needs to be addressed as quick as possible, because it's only a living that can face trial. So this I can stop at this time. You will recall that on the day he was taken to court, that was last week Tuesday, Nnamdi Kanu was allowed to address the court because I was not in court. I was not in court. So that enough shows you that's the problem. Nnamdi Kanu is not a lawyer, and he has no competence to address the court. He must address the court, because if needful was done, I would have been in court to address the court, and also apply to the court that he should be remanded in prison custody. So that is a clear violation of his constitutional right to a fair trial. So because I was not in court, he was allowed to address the court. So that shows you that there is more to it than meet the eyes. Because Labaran has my number. The office of AG has my number. They have simply put on a call across to me that they've abducted, whatever they call it, they classified it as my client somewhere in Kenya and brought him to here. And I take him to court on Tuesday to continue trial. Then I'll be in court on Tuesday. And also convince the court on the reason why he should be sent to prison, to correctional center. But in this case, the court allow him, which is abnormal, which is unethical, allow him to address the court. Why should court be asking him why he run away when I'm not there? We have an application before the court which contains his affidavit on oath, deposed to before a commissioner for oath in Israel, stating the facts of what transpired in his house on September 14, 2017. How he nearly escaped death. How he was ready to come to court on 14th of October 2017 to face trial. Then this are before the court, and court never entertained it. Court never entertained it. These are record black and white before the court. Court has never entertained this application before the court. So I will be craving the court or at any adjournment for the court to hear it, because it's fundamental to his fair trial, to the right. The court should hear and understand what transpired in his house. That's very fundamental. Then the court is now allowed to address the court on these facts, which are already before the court. So that's area that's why I'm entertaining fear that he will be granted a fair trial in this court. So now, coming to what happened in court, the matter has now been adjourned to 6th of October, to 6th of July. Let it be clear to everybody. You never jump bail. Because if the federal government was serious about prosecuting Nnamdi Kanu, if they are serious about prosecuting him, they will allow him to come to court on September 14th, 2017, October 14th, 2017, to face his trial. Are you telling me that soldiers that invaded Nnamdi Kanu province are not from Abuja? Are they acting where they acted under the instruction of someone in Abia State? The answer is no. They came from Abuja. They have the instruction of the federal government to go to his house. So and they are fully aware that Nnamdi Kanu was scheduled to be in court on October 14th. And in one of his broadcasts prior to the invasion of his premises, he told the world that he's coming to court to over 1 million members of IPOB. He informed the court all the world. So when they allow him, if I have any case against him, to come to the court on October 14th, probably at the end of the proceedings, they will arrest him. So he never jumped bail. This is a person, okay, assuming without considering to the fact that they succeeded in killing him on 14th of October, on September 14th, when they invaded his premises, will we be talking about his trial today or not? The answer is no. Because it's only a living that can face trial, and nothing more. If he was abducted, they succeeded in abducting him on that day they invaded his premises and killed over 28 persons, civilians or armed civilians, then we shouldn't be talking about what they're saying today. So, but by act of providence, he will never escape being killed. So these are people who are fully aware that he was scheduled to be in court on October 14th for his trial. And in Abuja here. So why can't you wait for him to come to court if I have any case against him? So, and we have supplied the court these facts. We have supplied the court circumstances that led to his disappearance from court. We have informed the court and convincingly that Nnamdi Kanu was ready to start his trial. But for the fact that his life is under threat. So the court is under compelling obligation to listen to the applications before him. Let me say this to you, because it's important for us to inform you appropriately. And whatever I'm saying today to you today, I will furnish you with documents to that effect, black and white. Before the date slated for his trial, the federal government, acting through the Attorney General of Federation, filed an application to vacate his bail, to vacate his bail, right? On the premise that he has violated his bail condition. This application was filed in black and white and served on me. And I responded to that application because it's a matter for court to decide. We cannot at this stage, at that point in time, or probably during that period, determine when Nnamdi Kanu violates his bail condition or not. And also, I want you to appreciate the fact that I had also filed an application to vary their bail condition before they file their own. So this is a pending application before the court. The court to hear my application to vary his bail condition, hear the one filed by the federal government that he has violated the bail condition, and also hear the one I filed in reply to what the federal government filed, stating that Nnamdi Kanu never violated his bail condition. So they're supposed to hear those applications. The court is under a duty to hear that application and make decisions